Hi Preston, this is Keaton Everett from ABC going over your pitching video from the camp. We're just kind of going to go through, talk about a few things, talk about how we can, most importantly, we got to get ourselves consistent. We got to be consistently throwing strikes, which means consistent mechanics, which means repeatability. And then, to keep ourselves healthy. That's the biggest key at this age is to try to maximize our body, but to keep ourselves healthy so we can keep playing and playing for a long time. So we'll kind of go through a few things, pause it here and there, and kind of show you a couple key spots. We basically want to look at how we're setting up, how we're using our lower half, what we look like at foot strike, and then how we're finishing. And really, pitching and throwing isn't a big complicated thing. We got to make it as simple as we can so we can repeat everything, and just to get ourselves throwing strikes. So the biggest thing we're going to stop and look at is how we're set up. All right. So you're set up. All right. You start with your hands up a little bit. Then you can see before you lift your leg, your hands drop down. All right. So we want to, we always want to limit our movements. We always want to limit unnecessary movements, and just to be as efficient as we can. So those hands naturally want to come down. So just come and have them come set, right above the belt, around that belly button, somewhere that's kind of that's nice and comfortable for you. We just want to make sure that what starts first is our leg and not our hands. All right. But what you do well is you can see your head isn't moving as that leg comes up. All right. A lot of times you'll see kids with their weight on that front foot, and their head will lean back outside of the box, or it'll come forward. So you're nice and solid over that back leg, which is good. All right. A lot of mechanics is balance, and it's staying over that back side and not that front side. A lot of times you'll see kids lift that front leg, and then you'll see this head start going forward. All right. So you're staying over that back leg nice and good. Just get those hands a little bit lower. Another thing too is pitching's a very athletic position, and we've got to get ourselves in athletic position as we can. All right, so feet together isn't very athletic. Okay, we always want to make sure that we're in an athletic position. So we got to make sure that this foot is somewhere right around shoulder width. All right, a little bit less, a little bit more, somewhere that's comfortable. We got to make sure that we're in an athletic position. To start our throwing our ball. Okay, so now the biggest thing though is as those feet fall apart, you got to make sure that this head stays over this back foot. All right, so we got to make sure we're keeping our weight over that back foot, and not keep it right in the middle. So then you'll see your head go back. We don't want to see you now at this position. My bad. Here, where now your weight shifted forwards a little bit, and then it shifts backwards and then forwards. All right, then it's going to go back. So you just got to make sure that you're in this exact same position that you're in, only this front foot's kicked down a little bit farther. All right, that's just going to get your body in a little bit better position. All right. So other than that, really solid start. All right, that head staying over that back side, which is extremely important. So that's good. All right, so as you can see, this video kind of skips a little bit, so we kind of miss how your hands are breaking. All right, but what you see here is this glove. You can see the palm turned all the way up. All right, we don't want to see that hand pronated or supinated at all, which just means turning it to the left or the right. We want to see that wrist in kind of a neutral position. We're just lifting with the elbows. All right. We can't see what your hips are doing, but we want to make sure that our hips are leading down the mound. All right, we want them to be doing the work. We want them to be getting down the hill first as quick as we can. All right, and we'll be able to kind of tell how your hips are working here. So you can see if we draw this box around your head, all right, you can see how your body's working in relation to what the rest of your body's doing. So as you can see, that head's bending backwards out of that box, and you're getting a pretty good angle with your spine. All right, we want to make sure that yeah, there can be a little bit of lean back here, but we really don't want to stray too far from a nice straight spine. All right, maybe a little bit here, just a little bit of bend, but we want that upper body to be nice and neutral. All right, and all that is that you're not letting your hips get down the mound. Okay, we want to see these hips get farther out. We want to see them drive that back hip, drive that back pocket to the catcher. All right, so as your hips are going forward, instead of this head, your head was about right here. Instead of this head going backwards, it stays in that box and keeps going forward because your body's just going forward. So you just want to see everything just keep going down the mound. All right. So go back to the start here. So just make sure that this glove isn't flipping out. You want to make sure that the back of your hand's kind of facing that catcher the whole time, because what this does is you'll see a little bit later is that this is already open and that it's going to start popping open that front side. So you can see that front side start leaking right there. All right, we'll go back and talk a little bit more about that, but that's just why we don't want that glove, that wrist turning open, is that it's just going to lead to pulling that glove off your body. All right, so we're just going to go back and just look at your arm, how your arm's working. Okay, so as you can see this arm path, so we're just looking back here at your throwing arm. All right, so we're just going through, and you can see, all right, it's pretty good arm action. All right, a lot of times when we break it down at foot strike, so your front foot just hits the ground here. All right, this is a pretty good, healthy position for that arm to be in. A lot of times we'll see guys with elbow above the shoulder, which is bad, or really far below. All right, so you got a nice good angle. All right, this elbow isn't too severe. A lot of times we'll see someone with the ball here or something like that. So that's a good spot to be in. All right. Now the more we were talking about the hips, the more we can get those hips going down, you're going to see this front foot start to turn more towards the catcher. All right, we're going to want this foot, instead of diagonally here, that foot's going to be facing a little bit more. It's going to be closed a little bit still, but it's going to be facing more towards the catcher. That's going to put that lower half in a position where your knee's out in front, and you're going to see this angle with your body. You're going to see this angle back here with your legs. All right, so you just got to use those legs a little bit more. And you're a young kid. A lot of that is strength. A lot of that is coordination that you're going to get as you get older. But the more you can kind of focus on that now, the better off you're going to be. All right. And then again with this front side, at foot strike, we're going to want to see this elbow matched up with that backside. All right. So that elbow hasn't even moved yet. We're going to want to see this hip start to turn. Right here, we're going to want to see that hip in that position, and yet that front side hasn't even turned yet. You're still back in this position back here with that spine still straight up here in that head. And again, that's a big strength deal, but we just want to see this position. We want to see this position with your hips, so just remember this position. And we want to see this position with your upper body. So you just got to get those hips started a little bit earlier. All right, so again, just make sure that this front side staying closed a little bit longer. We don't want that to be pulling off. We want our right side of our body to do the throwing, not the left side. All right, so that's just a pretty easy fix. And then, as you're finishing, that's just going to help you get yourself over that front foot a little bit more. You can kind of see your arm angle. You see that elbow way up high, and it's kind of going up over your head. That's just going to get your shoulders a little bit more square. And getting yourself over that front side of your foot a little bit better. You're going to see that glove out there a little bit more. So anyways, Preston, overall, pretty solid. Hope you had a great time at camp, and hopefully have a great season. Pitching's a great spot to be in. It's one of the best positions in baseball, so hopefully you're able to stick with it and make improvements every year. So anyways, hopefully we'll see you again with ABC. Good luck, Preston.